Welcome back to science. I hope you had a chance to explore your yard and start asking yourself questions about what do animals eat and what eats them. I know I had the chance to explore my yard as well, and I didn't find a new animal, but I did find this tree frog that's always on my front step. And I see him all the time, but I never stopped and asked myself, what do they eat? And I knew that answer. I knew he was there to eat the bugs that came up to my light at night. But I didn't know how many different animals actually eat tree frogs. I even wrote it down here so I didn't forget. But when I did a little research, I noticed snakes eat tree frogs, but then also otters and raccoons, squirrels, birds, and fish. So I was surprised by squirrels and raccoons. I didn't realize that they ate tree frogs. So I'd love to hear any other surprises that you've come across as you investigated your yard. All right, and today we're going to look at the food chain in a slightly different way. Now you received pages that say eat or be eaten in your materials pickup. And you might want to pause the video and see if you can go find these sheets. All right, and then we're going to take a look at a video that shows how you can play this game if you have a partner or if you have your family around that you can play the game. Okay, after the video, I'm going to share another way that you can play all by yourself. Okay, so whichever situation works best for you.
In today's activity, you're going to play a card game called Eat or Be Eaten. In this game, you'll make food chains using animals and plants. You may have seen these animals and plants before, but you may not have thought much about what they eat or what eats them. There are a few dozen cards that look like this. The text on each card tells you what a plant or animal eats, or what it's eaten by. You're going to pick cards from a stack and use the cards to make food chains. You make a food chain by setting cards side by side, so an animal is next to its food. Here's a very simple food chain. Beetles eat caterpillars. But you'll get more points for a long food chain. So you need to think about how to make a chain that's longer than just two cards. You can add to the end of this chain by asking, well, what does the caterpillar of a moth eat? By reading the card, you'll find out that they eat rotting wood, like this log. Now, you can also add to the other side of the chain by asking, well, what eats beetles? One animal that eats beetles is a raccoon. So you could add a raccoon to the beginning of the chain. If you're really sneaky, you can look for ways to make a chain longer from the middle by asking yourself, well, what else eats beetles? It turns out frogs eat beetles, and raccoons eat frogs. Now there are more than 4 cards in the food chain. For a food chain this long, you'll get bonus points. You can make more than one food chain at a time, too. Make as many food chains as you can. Okay, here we go. I'll walk you through how to play, step by step.
All right, so you don't need 4 players for this game. If you have 2, that will work. And then if you would like to include your entire family, you can go up to 4 or 5 as well. All right, so these cards are what we've sent home. I did not send the rule sheet or the scorecard home. Okay, you can keep score by adding up how many cards are in your food chain. Okay, I'm always in an effort to save paper.
Cut the dotted lines on each card sheet to make a set of cards. Make sure you cut all 5 card sheets so that you have 39 cards. person mix up the cards. Then put them in a stack face down. After you do this, go to the next step. We'll go through the first round together. Let's walk through the first turn together so you know how to play. The first player takes a card, reads the whole card aloud, then puts it face up in front of them. Any other players should do this now, taking turns, then go on to the next slide. Now the game gets interesting. On the next turn, and every other turn, you can either pick a card from the center stack or steal a card from another player if you can use it. But there's one rule. You can't steal a card if it's already part of a food chain. Okay, so with that in mind, each player play one more turn now, then move on to the next step for your final instructions.
All right, I'm going to stop the video there. Now remember, you can always go back and watch this video or this last part. Okay, you can just watch the last part of this video with your family to make sure that everyone understands how to play. And then the winner at the end has the longest food chain possible. Right? So if you are, maybe you're home alone during the day, or maybe your brothers and sisters are too young to play this game. You are going to use the cards in the same way, but your job is to spread all the cards out and try to make the longest food chain that you can using these same cards. Okay, so your assignment for today is play the game with someone else or make the longest food chain that you can by yourself. All right, enjoy. I hope you learned something new just like I did.